I'm Ignacio Navarro. I'm from Córdoba, Argentina. I'm 26. That's my Twitter. If you have any question, we need to do this up so quickly right now. As Dimitri say, I love sneakers and also I make some clothes too. But we came here to see some hacking arcade and that stuff. This one is agenda, some IDOR, some rogue authorization, a content cover, site server, NFC, Android application, and that's it. We can start. Last year I went to the Hackers to Hackers in Brazil. It's a really nice technical conference. But they have a lot of parties the whole weekend. They start on Friday and finish on Sunday. And each day they bring you to a typical Brazilian music place. In one of those parties, I met a girl. She's from Brazil. And we went on a day, we get some beers. And after some beers, there was a mall in front of the bar. And there was an arcade. And when you're kind of drunk, that's the best option. So we entered into the stuff, and there was like a totem where you can buy the card and charge some money. So I stay in front of that for like 5 minutes in this way and say, okay, maybe there is something inside here, because this one was a really old version of Windows. So I came back to Argentina, and I started researching a little bit about this one. This one was the card. I did a little go buster to check which directories they have exposed, and they have a really old version of PHP from 2019. They have the information.php exposed too. They were running a Drupal, but that didn't work too much because they don't have any LFI or SAE. So I continued doing the research. I ran a little DNS search, and I found they have another subdomain called Plus, where basically it's the application that you can set your different cards and you see your history, where do you play, you can charge some money. But I tried a lot of different injections and nothing worked because there was like a middleware over there. So I stayed like for 2 weeks in Argentina without any success over there. And I say, okay, maybe it's not the day for hacking this stuff, maybe it's for other way. So I turn the card and see at the bottom, and they have another URL from another random company. So I Google it, and I say, hey, we are the worldwide suppliers for amusement stuff. We have more than 2,000 installations in more than 70 countries. We are not just in arcades. We have amusement park. We have trampoline park, escape room, everything. So at that moment, I continue reading a little bit more, and they have a map with all the clients around the world in the more than 70 countries. So when I saw that, I say, yeah, now I want to hack this shit right now. So I did a little DNS stuff, and I found the API documentation for the number 2, and they say, okay, if you have the API key and the API secret, and you encode that stuff with SHA-1 and do that stuff again, we're going to give you the request token. So when I try to use the API, that say, okay, 200 okay, but the status success, but the success is false, and the status code is 403. That didn't work. We need the API key and the API secret for exploiting. But we're from Latin America, so we try to find some shitty stuff over there. And what happened if we delete the version 2 on the path of the API? It's supposed to don't work, but it did it. So we can consume the entire API without any token or something like that. We get a different endpoint with 200 OK, some of them with some errors and that, but the important stuff is that we can use, for example, this one to check my car and say, okay, this one is my car, and this one is my credit, my bonus, and that stuff. But if I ask for another different car, I get all the data too for another different person. And the same stuff happens with the customers. I mean, you can ask for a random customer because this is a sequential ID. So you can ask for some random customer, and you can get all the data, like the number, the phone, where they live, where they place, all the cards that they have attached to that account, profile picture too. And this was me after this misconfiguration. So I came back to the website, and there was 2,000 installations with the same problems. And yeah, they have a portal with all the news that, hey, we are here, we are there. So they're starting Brazil, UK, Sedge, Saudi Arabia, Spain, and there's a really big roller coaster in Vegas, close to DEF CON. And they say, hey, we're here too, we are in the arcade, in the amusement park too, in the roller coaster too. I continue checking the API, and they have 2 different sources, like you can charge some money from the totem who I show you, or from the mobile application. So I went to APK.com or APK Pure, or Pure in Spanish. And I get the application, I decompile them, that was unobfuscated, so everything was in plain text. So we can filter the different API key and the API secrets in the code. I get 5, 6 applications, did the same stuff, and there was all different account code and API key. So the endpoint was the same one. There was a centralized API, but the difference was made for the account code, who was a header, and that was a 13-character hexadecimal, so it could be kind of complicated to guess which companies, which code. But we have Google, we have the list of the client, so it could be more easy, and we can use it without the header. So what I'm saying, in this case, we are consuming the main API with the account code, and let's say, okay, this one is amusement park from Ecuador, from Quito. But if we Google it, because we have the list of the clients, we can consume directly the API without any token, and that's it. And about to charge some money into the car, I think we are okay with the time. About to charge some money, we can get the authorization token doing the API, because we have the API key and the API secret, that gives you the new token. And we go to the offers part, and let's say, okay, you can charge $200, and we're going to give you 50 more because you're nice. For generate the sale, you need to send this post. That's it. Just the ID of the number, the ID of your car, and that's it. But if you want to do some stuff like charge some money or charge some points in your car, we can just set the parameter delivered true, and we are going to do that stuff for us. So for you, don't pay attention about it. But obviously, I didn't do that because $200 in Argentina is the minimum salary, so I don't want to be in jail for that shit. Coming back to the application, they have more than 30 endpoints over there, all of them in plain text. There was an interesting one who was update customer that asked you for a first name, email, and the last name, and the newsletter was just a random Boolean. So we send the post to the stuff, and I say, okay, maybe here it could be some account takeover because there's no token. So we ask for our user and say, okay, this one is your email, just a random one from webhook. And when we send the post for full test, and that's it, that changes automatically. So the user never receive an email say, hey, someone changed your email or something like that. So you can just change the email and send a reset password, and that's it. There was a demo here, but that takes like 5 minutes. About the race condition, they have a portal where they say, okay, if you install the application in your phone, we're going to give you 300 tickets. So I wrote a little Python script, just normal one, send 100 posts in a thread, and that's it. I run it, and that hit. So now we check the history, and we get all the different points in our car, in our account. And there was some rewards also for money, like $100, $200, but I didn't do that stuff too. About the bookings, I was reading at the portal, and they have like a place where you can book the amusement park or the arcade to make your company party and that stuff. And they have a lot of exposed stuff too. The most important one is the TMP, the uploads and the data. The TMP is just random logs, XML, with some data about the endpoint, some APIs, some ports, some keys over there, but not too much stuff. About the uploads, I wrote a little Python script too, because there was a lot of pictures, so I wrote this stuff to make it more easy. And that gave me 3 different folders called Facturación Argentina, and that means Invoices Argentina. I went there, and they have 2 private certificates, and they use the stuff for generating invoice and say, okay, this guy bought me this stuff, this car, or he rent this book, this place, and that stuff. So if they have these certificates for generating invoices, they have the invoices saved in somewhere else. So in the data, we have all the invoices from Argentina. It was more than 600, with all the data about the customer, how they pay, what he bought, and that stuff. And if they have the booking, they need a booking manager. So there was a portal that say, hey, please search your reservation by your name, last name, or reservation code. But what happened, we just click into search without any data. That gives the list of all the clients in that company. all the bookings, and so we can just modify all the different bookings and stuff. They have a lot of errors in the code. And basically, we can change all the prices. We have a lot of legal for information over there. And that didn't ask for any token or something like that. We are so fucking nice with the time. I'm so proud of me. About the state server, they have exposed the Zendesk. So basically, you can create a user without any validation or something like that too. And they have a lot of videos posted to make it more easy for the customers. And they expose some APIs, some users, some passwords, some API key. They have a network diagram for the different arcades and amusement park. And I present this stuff in SkyTalks in Vegas this year, and I put some more shitty stuff. And when I came back to the portal, I started to read a little bit, and I found this comment, and it's unbelievable, I think, that say, hey, I can access to my computer. This one is my IP, and this one is my username, and this one is my password. And that was in a public blog over there. But it's mine. In Spain, they have a lot of amusement park. So I found this stuff with like the management for the entire place. I tried to do some injections and log it, that didn't work. But they have exposed the webpack so we can read the entire code. And in this case, we have an endpoint there you can see all the different machines in that place without any authentication or something again. And we have the public IP for each machine, so maybe there's some shit over there. And they have the login part also exposed. And this is just a normal one. If that is 200K, just give me the access token and that's it. But if it is 407, do something. And if this one is 420, do another stuff. When I saw that, I thought he was talking about some weed maybe or something like that, but no. When you change the code for 420, that gives you a new screen and say, hey, now you can reset the password for just a random user without any token and that stuff. We are the same place at the beginning. And as I told you, I present this stuff in SkyTalks, and I found this interesting tool called Gao. I saw that one in I think it was a video from Nahamsek. So I say, okay, let's try to add more content over there. They have another portal, and when I try to do the login, it was in code, so I can't modify anything about it. The response was in code too. So I came back, they have exposed all the code, they have a method who called prepare data, and the method called another one who is called encrypt, and encrypt called another one who is called create cipher, and that uses an algorithm and password. So we need to find that stuff right now. In this case, it was hardcoded on the code too. So the password was kind of complicated one, but that was hardcoded over there, so it's the same stuff. So I wrote a little script too to decode and encode the different response, and that was working. So I send another post right now for the login with some random magic over there. I encode it, and I send it, and that gave me a really long response code. So I decode it, and that say, hey, we found a SQLA syntax error near to here and there, so now we have the injection over there. In the SkyTalks, there was more stuff about this one, but I cannot do that with that camera over there, so we can talk later with some beers. About the NFC, I don't want to talk a little bit too much about this one, because this was a really normal car. There is an interesting article from Chema Alonso en El Lado del Mal. I think it's in Spanish, but you can improve your Spanish. In my case, I just used the Flipper Zero and just the car. I read it, and it was almost empty with all the values by default, and just the numbers over there were just the number of the car. The PIN code doesn't matter. They never validated. That's just there just for fun. So the car was almost empty. They had all default. And I present this talk in Spain in the Euskal Hack. And one guy after the talk come to me and say, hey, I went to the amusement park with my kids last week, and I have the car here if you want to read it. So I read it, and it was the same stuff. Also, I went to Brucon in Brussels, and the same story. I read the car, and the same stuff. So all the cars, all the systems had the same vulnerabilities and the same misconfiguration. But they say, okay, You can do this stuff with some hardware or flipper. So maybe some people don't have it, and they just have a phone. So I come back to the code, and they say, OK, if you have the NFC Play on, you can do something. OK, I say, let's see it. So when you log it in into your account, you have all the list of your cards. And basically, the video should be fast. Basically, when you log it in, you can go to Play Cards, and you can emulate the card just directly with your phone, and you don't need a Flipper Zero or something like that. So you can do some account takeover over there too, and you can get access to all the cards. For the ending, 4 minutes. What we can do here? We can get the data for all the customers. We can get all the bookings too and modify all the stuff. We can get access and emulate all the cars, charge some money, earn the same price multiple times. About here in Bali, they don't have customers, fortunately. But in Asia, because we're in Asia, they have a lot of customers in Singapore, Philippines, China, Taiwan. In Kuwait, I don't know if it is a good pronunciation, sorry, they have a lot of customers, a lot, I don't know why. About the conclusions, at the 2024, we still have some basic vulnerabilities and misconfigurations, so the 0 days are nice, but we can still find this shitty stuff. The SecOps culture could help a lot to the companies to fix all the stuff at the beginning of the development cycle, and not you need to wait until that stuff in production. Security education and training, the normal stuff. And I have a GoSee for you guys. We have time for that stuff. I report this stuff several times to the company. And we had a meeting in Colombia with the CTO. And they say, hey, our boss don't like that you are talking around the world about how the people can hack us. So maybe we can work together and fix it. And at your talk, you say that we are working together. And I say, that's perfect for me. I mean, I'm doing this stuff for free. If you want to pay me, nice. So we had that meeting. I wrote the report. I sent them. And they never replied to me. I mean, I sent a lot of messages after stuff and never replied to me. But in Brussels, we were talking with the guy who is working for the government, and they have a lot of these systems there. So we are trying to report the stuff by the government side and don't be in jail. If you found something, please report the stuff. Just don't be an asshole defacing website around the world and that stuff. In Argentina, we have a lot of those cases right now, like defacing websites from universities and that shit, so don't be an asshole. And if someone sends you a report, please pay a little bit of attention. We are not talking about money, it's just make it safe. And I did it with 2 minutes left, so thank you so much, guys.